Now to use group transitions, I'll add a new horizontal line here, and then I will output an unordered list. I'll add the list group class, which just gives us some nice bootstrap styling, and then my list item with the list group item class here. Again, just to have it a nice style being applied to it, like this. So this is my list item, and now I also need some data. I will set up a simple array of numbers here because it's not really about the data, it's about the animations, which shall be the numbers 1, 3, 4, 5, let's say. And I want to loop through them, of course. So I will add v4 and loop through my number in numbers like this, and then output the number here with string interpolation. Having a look at this, we see this list down there. Looks great, and as we know it. Now I want to add a way to add and delete items, and then as a last step, we want to animate this. Now let's add a way to add and delete items first. Here I will simply add a new button primary, which will get the add item caption. And then upon clicking, I want to execute add item, a method I have yet to add. And on the individual item, I want to add a click listener so that when I click on an item, I execute remove item. Now for remove item, I need to know which item, and to be able to know, I will adjust this code a bit, bring it over multiple lines so that it is easier to read, and I will get more arguments than just one. We learned this, we can also retrieve the index of the current iteration like this. And then I can pass this index like this to know which item shall be removed. Now I got these two methods I don't have set up right now, so let's set them up next to make this work. Though before doing so, I will add some style here to make the cursor a pointer, so that once we hover over them, we can see that we actually can click them or should be able to click them. Now let's add the two methods here. The two methods are add item, which doesn't take an argument, and then remove item, which has the index of the item as an argument. Now removing is very simple. I simply get my numbers array. This is the property I set up here in my data, which is just an array. And then with the splice method, I can edit this existing array to remove an item, for example. And I want to remove an item at the index and then only one item to remove just the item at this index. This is how I remove an item, and we can already see this in action. If I now click on an item, it's gone. And then for adding an item, I want to randomize this. So I want to get a position, which I'll determine randomly with math_floor to get a full integer, and then math_random, which gives me a random number between 0 and .9999. And this multiplied with the current length of my array will give me, together with math_floor, some number between 0 and the highest index, so of the last item in this array, which is exactly what I want to have a position to add it at. And then I can simply use the splice method here too, because it can not only be used for removing elements, but instead I want to start splicing at the position here. Don't remove any element, which is why I pass 0 as a second argument. But then splice also has a third argument, which allows me to add a new element to this array at this position then. So here I want to add this number's length plus 1. This is important so that I don't add a number which currently is part of the array. Now we can see this in action by simply starting to add here, and you see these numbers like the 7 here are added in random places. Nice. So last thing is I want to add a horizontal line after some breaks after the button here, so that we do have a nice separation here, some distance in between. And now I want to animate both the addition and the deletion of items. This is what I'll work on next.